going to close this window, and when I scroll down a little bit further in the Triggers palette, there's also an Actions while activating and an Actions while deactivating. I'm going to add a new action on activation for the isMouseOver property. So I'm going to select isMouseOver and press the plus. Blend tells me that there's no timeline already, so it creates a timeline for me. This timeline will allow me to create an animation on the button. I want my triangle's color to change subtly, so I'm going to first create a keyframe at time 0, advance my playhead to time 2, and create a keyframe there. What I've done is I've explained that the animation should start and stop at the default state. Now I move the playhead to time 1, and now I'm going to modify the properties to tell my animation start at the default state, change the properties to the state I'm going to specify, and then return to the default state. I want to take the fill of my triangle, make it a brighter yellow, and make it completely visible. Now when I press F5, as soon as the mouse enters, my triangle goes to a bright yellow and then back to the default state. This animation only played once because if you look in the animation, the timeline only lasts for 2 seconds. When I expand the path in the timeline, I see the fill and the color properties, and I can right-click on the color and specify a repeat count. When I click on the infinity button, I now explain that I want my animation to go from the default state to the yellow and back, and repeat that loop indefinitely. Now when I press F5, when I enter, I go from red to yellow, and the cycle continues. When I leave the mouse, however, the timeline continues to play. This is because I've specified when I enter, I want the timeline to begin, but I've never told it when to stop. I'm going to select the isMouseOver property trigger again, and at the bottom, there's actions when activating, as well as actions when deactivating. I'm going to add a new action on deactivation, and I want my timeline 1 to stop. Press F5 once more, and when the mouse enters, the animation begins, and when the mouse exits, the animation stops. Now that my button is completed, I can go to my window1.xaml, and this is the application that we've been using to test our control. When I go to the project pane, you'll notice in my files inspector, there's now a playbutton.xaml. I can now hand this file off to another designer. They can add it to their project, and they've got my style defined. If you look in the Resources tab, you'll see that file here again, and again, the play style that we defined is shown here. These are just a few more locations that you can check to find all the resources that you may be looking for. The techniques that we've used here can be reused for any type of control. Sliders, scroll bars, list boxes, and any other Windows Presentation Foundation control can all be edited in this way so that the restrictions of a rectangular button with black letters OK no longer hinder us.